As we approach Veterans Day, we want to proudly acknowledge all veterans, but especially the Three Rivers men and women who have served or are currently serving our country. Although we will not be able to hold our traditional in-person ceremony this year, we are committed to releasing a virtual ceremony on Veterans Day. In this video, please listen as Dr. Ault spends time interviewing Taylor Graduate Marlin Flanders regarding his service in the United States Navy.
Talk to us a little bit about when you enlisted and why, I guess, and how you came to that decision.
I enlisted into the military in December of 2013, left for boot camp in February of 2014. So after I enlisted, I had about 2 months to prepare. One of the reasons why I enlisted was I had tried the college route. I ended up getting a bachelor's degree, but there wasn't really anything that sparked my interest as far as what I really wanted to do. So I figured maybe the military would kind of shape my mind into maybe something a little different, just a change of scenery. And of course, a little part of me wanted to serve my country as well. So.
Right. Yes. So you chose the Navy.
So I chose the Navy.
And can you tell us why? Why the Navy?
I chose the Navy because they say that the Navy travels the most. So I wanted the opportunity to be able to see more of the world. I liked the jobs that the Navy had to offer. Now, as far as traveling, I was on a submarine that didn't travel anywhere other than the Atlantic Ocean. So I didn't get that aspect out of it, but I still got, I got no regrets. I still am very happy that I got to experience what I did and to be in the situation I am today. So
yeah. So when you decided to enlist in the Navy, you went home. Was this a conversation you were having at home? Was it accepted? Were people nervous? Talk to us a little bit about that.
It was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. Like I knew a Navy recruiter because at the job that I worked at, one of the girls that I worked with, her boyfriend, now husband, was a Navy recruiter. So I kind of knew a Navy recruiter already. It was a thought that was kind of like in the back of my mind for the past year at this point in my life. And one day I just went and talked to him, and probably 2 weeks after I talked to him, I was enlisted already. Didn't really talk to my mom about it, but she knew that it was a thought, but she didn't think I'd actually do it. And when I told her, she cried. Yeah. But she's very proud of me today.
She should be proud of you. We're proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
can't
you
be
very much.
more proud of you. So you go to boot camp. Where was that at? And what was that experience like? Just curious.
So boot camp was in Great Lakes, Illinois. The first night of boot camp, I was terrified because I've never really been out of Cincinnati, out of the west side of Cincinnati before. And even at 26 years old, I just didn't know what to expect. I watch movies and TV shows, so I see how boot camp is portrayed. But in the Navy, it's a little different. We're not necessarily training as soldiers. We're kind of trained a little bit differently. What I expected it to be like, it ended up actually being a little bit easier than I thought. And I don't mean as far as physical wise, but I think because I was at a point in my life where this was something that I needed, or something that I wanted, that made it a lot easier to get through boot camp.
Okay, neat. And so then you were deployed at some point.
Right, I did 6 deployments on my submarine.
6 deployments.
I was stationed on a submarine, the USS Alaska. I did 6 deployments. Now, my deployments are a lot different than others in the Navy. The type of submarine I was on, we didn't pull into ports. Our mission was strategic deterrence. So we weren't out to sea any longer than 90 days.
I see.
So 6 times I went out to sea, and I think 90 days was actually the most I've been gone. Other than that, there
90
were
days out to sea.
Somewhere in between 30 and 90 days.
And did you volunteer to be on a sub?
I did.
Because how does that work? Because I've heard that, like you volunteered to do sub duty.
So submarines are completely voluntary. No one's going to tell you have to be on a submarine. But when it comes time to pick a job, when you join the Navy, right then and there is when you can tell them hey, I want a job on a submarine, or I don't want to be on submarines. Right. And I volunteered because I didn't think anything of it at the time, and I picked a job being an IT on submarines because that was the job that left the soonest, and I was ready to go. So,
so you're not claustrophobic?
Not at all.
And my understanding is a submarine, a typical submarine, maybe 30 feet wide, is that correct? Or
My submarine was about 560 feet long, so about the size of a football field and a half.
Wow.
So, I mean, they're pretty big. Like, they're massive. Like, they're not, you watch those movies and TV shows.
Right.
Like, I feel like the media and the movies and all that.
That's why, yeah.
They
I
like
just
portray it to be so small and claustrophobic,
Yes.
but they're huge. I mean, we had 4 levels. We had workout stations. We had, enough space for 180 people to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, shower, sleep, have their own workspaces.
Yes.
I mean, it was pretty big. We have a guy that works in our office who's 6'5", 270, and he was on a submarine.
Okay, so there's that myth, right? Because
Yes.
I'm envisioning
Definitely a
this
myth.
tight little space. I'm like, Marlin, you're a pretty big kid.
Yeah, definitely
How
a
does
myth.
that work? Okay.
Definitely a myth.
So you were actually trained, I think we talked about this before, with some IT and technology. That was part of what you were trying to learn while in the Navy, is that correct?
Right, so when I joined, I enlisted as an IT. So I actually went, after boot camp, I went to IT training for 10 months, learned how to be an IT just in general.
Yeah.
And then once I got to the submarine, they kind of like showed me how to be an IT on the submarine.
Okay.
So for the past 4 years, I've been doing that. And then now I'm here in Cincinnati as a recruiter. But I'm in graduate school to get my master's in cybersecurity right now, so I'm still kind of doing the IT thing.
Right. So when you were released from the Navy, how was that, getting back into civilian life, and you have a family, and just trying to, navigate our society now as opposed to maybe the naval way of doing things?
So I'm still actually active duty right now,
Okay.
but I'm working as a recruiter. It does kind of feel like I'm in civilian life just a little bit, because I'm back in my hometown. I'm seeing my friends and family every day. I'm coming to my own school, my old school. So it's definitely a transition than what it used to be. But the Navy does a good job of preparing people for that. Because not everybody's going to stay in the military forever.
Right.
So they help with finding a job and building resumes, practicing interviews, and kind of just, transitioning into that civilian lifestyle.
So you feel like they've taken care of you?
Absolutely, 100%.
Supported you in the transition, and you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's good. One of tailor-made veterans here. Last question I have for you, and then we'll play a little word game. And I didn't realize, like 6 out of the last 10 presidents were in the Naval Academy. Neil Armstrong was in the Naval Academy. And you'll relate this maybe. I'm not sure if that was your music era, but MC Hammer.
Yeah.
MC Hammer was in the Naval.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in the Navy. Yeah, so, and I didn't realize it either, and I should have, but I believe the Marines are actually part of the Navy.
The Marines are a department of the Navy.
Wow. So last question for you is just in terms of your experience, what one experience maybe that you've had or taken away, something that resonated with you, you've taken back into your current life, or a memory of your time in the sub, or friends that you made, or just the story maybe about your life in the Navy?
I would just say, in general, it's probably just the misconception or the misunderstanding of the military in general. There's a lot of people who, think the military is one thing, and, me actually being in the recruiting field, I speak to parents and I speak to kids, and, one of the first things that comes out of their mouth is like, well, I don't want to get shot at, or I don't want to die, or I don't want to go to war, or anything like that. There's, different branches of the military, and each one do different things. Now, there's a lot of jobs in each branch that, do similar things, and there are combat, there definitely is combat, but there's a lot of other aspects that go into the military, things that you would never even think.
Right.
Me joining the military and doing it, it's kind of crazy to see you can even do that in the military, and just the benefits, just everything that, the military provides for you, you would, because it's not something that's it's not something that's advertised.
Right.
You watch the news and the TV and the media and all that stuff, and you don't always see the good.
Right.
But there's a lot of good that comes out of the military that people just don't realize, and
And it probably is a little bit frustrating for the average civilian.
Right.
Because you're right, we've got that media perspective of what that
Right.
is.
And that's why, like, I'm glad that I'm a recruiter now. Like, I chose this path because I can be that person in the middle to kind of tell the people, like, hey, look, this is how it is.
Right.
You know, compared to what you're hearing, especially at least the people in my hometown who
Yes.
think I'm out there fighting war and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, listen, I'm not doing that. And there are people who are, but that's not all the military is about.
Right. There's a lot of
So
components to it.
I'm just fortunate that I get to be, you know, the representative in this area to kind of set the record straight on that.
That is great. Okay, so we're going to do a real quick word game. You just say one or the other. And we don't judge, do we? We don't judge here. So there's no judgment here. So, would you rather? Some of these are pretty obvious, but we'll see. Green Beret or SEALs?
SEALs.
Midshipmen or cadets in football this year?
Midshipman.
Tank or submarine?
Submarine, absolutely.
Okay, the song In the Navy by the Village People or Anchors Away?
Anchors Away.
Anchors Away. What about the mess deck or the rack?
Depends on the time of day.
So the mess deck is where you eat, right? And the
Correct.
rack is where you sleep.
Yes.
So that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Last question. President John F. Kennedy or President Gerald Ford? Both naval men, by the way.
Because I know more about JFK, I'll go with JFK.
Oh, man, Gerald Ford, Michigan alum. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
you for your service.
Thank you very much.
We're really, really proud of you, Marlon.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming back.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm glad to be here.